I left the city, the apartment, the traffic, but I never left work. I think anybody considering this lifestyle is asking the same question. How do you even make a living out here? I've been living this lifestyle for about 5 years now, and believe me when I say the bills don't magically disappear. You need to make some level of income living off-grid. So, what the hell do people living off-grid do for work? Do they just pick up fruit and sit in a hammock all day long, sipping rainwater and hope for the best? In this video, I break down exactly how off-grid people make money, even how I make money living in the middle of the forest, and how you can too if you're dreaming of escaping the city. But first, let's talk about the myth of no money. There's this romantic idea that once you live off-grid, you're totally free from money. But unless you're growing your own food, make your own clothes, and run on pure barter, you're gonna need income. The big misconception I find is that living off-grid is cheap or cheaper. Well, it is about the same as living on grid. See my previous video on the cost of living if you haven't done so already. But you still have taxes, you have bills to pay, you have to buy your land, you build on it, materials are expensive, the cost of wood to heat or propane to cook and heat as well, the fuel to run the generators to have power, the setup cost to harvest your water as well. Even here in the forest, I pay for internet, tools, repairs, gear, and the occasional hardware store trip that somehow always ends up costing me between 150 to 300 bucks. So how do people do it out here? Here's a breakdown of how off-grid people actually make money. Number one, seasonal or casual work. I feel this is the entry level to off-grid living, probably best suited for young people wanting to experience this lifestyle. It is generally low paid and includes farm work, tourism gigs, odd jobs around properties as well. Can you sustain a lifestyle this way, especially if you want to grow a family? I guess everything is debatable, including what makes you rich in life. But I would say that although I think seasonal experience can be very rich culturally and for people growth, this is probably one of the hardest, if not the hardest path to sustain yourself financially in the long run. Number two, setting up a small off-grid business. This is a pathway that we certainly consider and are still working towards. This includes anything from selling extra eggs, honey, firewood, to setting up an Airbnb style stays or glamping accommodation. But it can include many things and people have big dreams. We certainly have friends quite successful in the area, one of which, for instance, is growing hemp and making derivative products out of the hemp. In a way, sky's the limit here, but just be aware that building a business from the ground up is difficult, hard work, and takes a long time, no matter what the self-gurus out there tell you. Number three, craftsmanship or building. Usually the small off-grid business that you see growing in bigger ventures involve agriculture, often requiring large land, craftsmanship like woodworking or making soap, and most likely it involves professional trades like plumbing, electricians, excavator operators, carpenters, the fixing stuff for the neighbor. This is what works in these areas. In this part of the world, just fixing stuff as a business kickstart is a lot more common than you think. Word gets around quickly that either you have the knowledge or the equipment or both to help. And what are the alternatives anyways? Calling somebody from the big city? Just getting somebody to drive to your location before you even start talking about the project would often set you back a few $100 already. Number four, and this one is a big one for me, remote work or freelancing. This is a big one for me because I work a 9 to 5 as a specialist in risk management. So if I've got a satellite Wi-Fi connection and the ability to travel a little bit for work, I can advise, consult, review, manage, participate in team meetings, brainstorm over Zoom or Teams, and execute tasks that I would otherwise execute in an office. And I have to say, this is one positive impact of the pandemic. Although I had started working remote before, I find that it is now more common than before to work in an office job remote. How you go about it and the sort of balance and well-being that you get out of it strongly depends on the company culture and flexible work arrangements there, and your own self-discipline. So although I don't have the typical off-grid skills and capabilities that one would expect to sustain an off-grid lifestyle, I am quite lucky in a sense to work for a company that is flexible enough for me to do my 9 to 5 mostly remote, and still live this lifestyle and provide for my family. Finally, number five, and this is a little bit of pie in the sky thinking, but it is social media creation. So I've created this channel primarily as a creative outlet. I've always been interested in filming, documenting stuff, and putting a nice music behind. And this is probably a legacy from my skateboarding video days. Some may call it narcissism, but fact is I was drawn to it before YouTube was even a thing. I would have kept doing it anyways, and now it turns out that YouTube gives money for it. This channel was monetized a few months ago. It is very minimal income, like we're talking cents every day. But it's super exciting to see, for me, as a career man or salaryman, that people find interesting stuff that I create and put out online. So for me, it's a blend. I work full-time remotely. I have a family with young kids. I'm building a glamping business with my partner and an e-store on the side, and we run this YouTube channel. It's not always easy, often frustrating, but when we're making progress, it's deeply rewarding. Some of the perks: I can take lunch every day with my partner, build with my own hands, and teach my kids a living without or outside the city chaos. So in conclusion, yes, off-grid people definitely work. We just do it differently. It's not about escaping work, it's about doing work that fits your lifestyle. Let me know in the comments, what would you do for income if you moved off-grid? And if you want to see how this lifestyle unfolds, hit subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next week for a tour of our glamping site progress or whatever else is going on at Libacan. Until next time.
On rentre? On rentre ou pas? Non, je vais pas rentrer maintenant.